So my last video has been doing very well, and I'm very grateful for that. And ever since I made that video, I've been thinking a lot about why people mess up and why I mess up on my self-improvement, right? Because I said in that video that I've sort of done this social media fast, social media detox, right? I'm not consuming really any content, and that's been great, except there has been moments where I've messed up. I've been really bored out of my mind, and I just kind of coped and will say, I'll just watch one video, and then I watch a couple videos, right? Little things like that. And I've been thinking a lot about why people relapse, why people make these mistakes on their self-improvement, right? If you're trying to resist a certain bad habit, why do we randomly go back to those self-improvement, those bad habits, right? And it's not random. You see, the reason we often will revert back to our old habits is really because we, for whatever reason, feel bad about ourselves and we feel shame, and so we feel like we have to fill ourselves up. We feel like we have to distract ourselves and escape from whatever it is that's making us feel bad, right? If you're wondering what that weird rustling is, it's my dog is being goofy. And so the main reason that we relapse on our self-improvement habits is because of shame. And I'm gonna be honest, recently I've messed up a lot of my self-improvement, and I realized that if I messed up, if I made a mistake, right, if I scrolled a bunch on YouTube even though I really didn't want to, now I feel bad, right? Now I feel bad about myself. Bugs everywhere. Lord. I am now, because I've messed up and now I feel shame, I am now extremely likely to mess up again on something else, right? I'm now extremely likely to eat a bunch of junk food. I'm now extremely likely to skip the gym, right? I haven't gone to the gym in a while because I've, been busy, and it's making me feel bad about myself that I've been skipping the gym so often, and so I've been neglecting other parts of my self-improvement because I feel shame. Now, shame is not 100% the enemy, but it can be a problem, but it can be also used for good. It's not inherently evil. It's how it is used by our brain, right? So, shame is usually used as the fuel to destroy us, right? Usually it's used to make us feel bad about ourselves and then have us mess up even more, make us feel even worse about ourselves. This endless cycle of messing up and failing and feeling horrible about yourself, and then messing up more and failing and feeling even worse, right? It's this awful cycle. But it can also be used to improve ourselves, right? Chances are, if you ever got in self-improvement, or if you really want to change your life, you felt bad about a certain area of your life. You feel like, hey, I'm not disciplined enough. Hey, I'm not loving enough. I'm not kind enough. I'm not caring enough. All these little things, right? Or I have bad mental health. You feel shame about those parts of yourself, and so that's why you want to improve yourself. That's why you want to become a better version of yourself, right? So shame isn't inherently bad, but we're not necessarily supposed to feel it all the time, right? We're not supposed to feel shame very often, right? We're supposed to recognize that we've failed and we've messed up, and then we can grow and learn from it. We're supposed to recognize our flaws and recognize our strengths, and see how we can become the best version of ourselves. But we're not supposed to feel like we are evil. We're not supposed to feel like we are bad, right? On the topic of shame, it's hard to not talk about the Garden of Eden, right? We as no matter what you believe in, right? God exists, God doesn't exist, I don't really care, right? Of course, I believe that God exists, and of course, I kind of want you to believe that God exists because I do, but it doesn't really matter for this, right? So in the Garden of Eden, Eve ate the fruit of the tree of life, right? Sorry, not the tree of life, the fruit of the tree of good and evil, right? And she gave it to her husband, Adam, who they then put clothes on, right? They were naked in the garden. They were just cavemen, right? And so they covered themselves up because they felt shame. They felt horrible themselves. They were hiding from God. because they felt shame. And God then cast them out of the garden, right? Because they felt bad about themselves. They felt like they had done something wrong, and that's why they hid away. That's why they cast themselves away, right? We are not supposed to feel bad about ourselves. We're supposed to recognize, hey, I'm not happy about this. I'm not proud of this part of me. But we were never meant to feel like we're not good, because we're created to be good. We're created in God's image and likeness, right? God created us, and when he created us, he said, when God created everything, he said it is good, right? Everything that God creates is good. When God created man, he said it is very good. And it's not good for man to be alone, so he created the first woman, Eve. That is, that's what people always forget. At the end of the day, we are good. No matter how badly we fall, no matter how hard we mess up. Jesus fell 3 times on his road on his trip to be crucified. I forgot what the hill was called, but Calvary, yeah. On his way to Calvary to be crucified, right? He fell 3 times. Jesus was never, Jesus is the perfect man, right? But he's still a man. Of course, he's also God, but he's still a man. And so he's going to fail. He's going to stumble. He's going to fall, just like you and I are. So why are you holding yourself to such a high standard that, I have to be perfect all the time? I'm a horrible person if I mess up. But Jesus fell 3 times. The perfect human fell 3 times. So why do you think you're just not going to fall? Why do you think you can bear the weight of all your struggles, all of your pain, all at once, and not mess up sometimes? So next time you fall, next time you stumble, don't feel ashamed. Acknowledge, okay, I messed up, right? I made this mistake. Why did I make this mistake? Okay, that's why. That was kind of not normally what happens. I'll be better next time. What can I do to improve this? What can I do to make it so this doesn't happen again? But don't ruin your entire day by going, oh, I scrolled on Instagram today. It sounds silly, but that's how a lot of people in self-improvement end up living our lives, is this constant battle of feeling horrible by yourself because you're messing up on these little things, right? I know for a while there was this trend of people saying that self-improvement ruined their life. Self-improvement doesn't ruin your life. You ruin your life. It's just the fact that you don't know how to do self-improvement correctly, right? Self-improvement is never supposed to be feeling horrible about yourself and critiquing every little thing in your life like you're some really mean football coach, right? Self-improvement, at the bottom line, is just improving yourself. You're not improving yourself if you're feeling horrible about yourself. It doesn't make any sense. So self-improvement will never ruin your life. It is supposed to make your life better. It's the choices that you make that will ruin your life. If you fall on your self-improvement journey, it's not that you failed, or it's not that it's self-improvement's fault. It's still your fault that you fell. So take ownership of it. Take pride in the fact that you have messed up, and now you can learn from your mistakes, right? Failing, making mistakes, is never failing. You can't really truly fail unless you give up. It's the only way you can truly fail, right? Because when you quote-unquote fail, you can learn from your mistakes and become a better version of yourself. If you don't learn from your mistakes, you don't grow, if you don't change, if you don't evolve, then yes, you failed. If you gave up on your journey, if you scroll on Instagram for a day and go, you know what, screw it, I'm not going to try to improve my social media addiction anymore, I'm not going to try to improve my mental health anymore, I'm just going to go back to the way I was, I'm giving up. Then you failed, then you let it win. But if you keep brushing yourself up, keep moving forward, keep walking to Calvary, then you will never truly fail. Have no shame. It's just a journey. That's all I got for today. God bless you, and stay wild.